Now to talk more about last night's debate is journalist Lynn White, Jackie Guzda, media professor at Western Connecticut State University, and Basil Smikle, a political and policy analyst. Welcome to all of you. Now, in the debate last night, a couple of things emerged that really took center court today. One was the racial profiling situation with Barney's, and then also the court decision involving stop and frisk. Which candidate does this benefit? How does this play out? Lynn?
Well, I think de Blasio, because de Blasio wants to change things, and de Blasio stands for the melting pot of New York. The picture on the cover of New York Magazine was a great example of that. You know, he's the man, he's the populist candidate, he's the man who's going to come in and be of the people. And I think right now, with all the rancor that we're seeing in Washington, he's kind of the guy you'd rather see there than somebody who's kind of from that Tea Party element. Anybody with a Republican ring around their neck right now is tarnished in some way, because I think their brand has been tarnished with the shutdown. Having said that, I think this guy is somebody that you could see yourself looking at on TV every day. Loda, not so much.
And Jackie, how do you feel about this, especially in light of the fact that the judge's decision has been blocked?
That's right. I mean, Lynn is exactly right. De Blasio is the man of the people. He's the man that the people identify with. He talked about certain issues. Education. He said that 95% of the children that go not in the charter schools deserve attention and money, too. He talked about health care. He talked about immigrants, and on with the people. And when he talked about stop and frisk, he also said he wasn't going to completely get away from it, but he is against it. It's a very unpopular procedure in New York City with everyone. Now, since that ruling came down today, and it is no longer considered something that the New York City Police Department has to do, things are going to change. It's very unpopular with New Yorkers. And both of the candidates are saying, look, it's stop and frisk, but Loda was calling it stop, question and frisk, a new brand for it.
I think that's what the current mayor also calls it, and the police commissioner. Basil, how do you weigh in on this one? The fact that the judge's implementation order was blocked. What does this put the new mayor in, whoever is mayor?
I tell you, if I'm Bill de Blasio, I am going from community to community and hammering this decision home and saying, look, we went to the federal government and we got them to stop this. It's been overturned. It's clear that the courts are not going to help you. Make me mayor and I'm going to take care of it. Right. That's the message that he's going to come out with. I think for very quick talking points, it helps Joe Loda by saying, well, you know, he can come out and say, well, you know, obviously the federal appeals court agrees with me, agrees with Bloomberg, agrees with Giuliani, but that's not going to galvanize voters. What will galvanize voters is Bill de Blasio going out there and saying, we look to the courts, they didn't help. I'm the one person that's standing in the way of you getting this policy changed and amended.
Let's make something, let's clarify something a little bit here too. The order has been blocked pending the outcome of the appeal, so it has not been overturned per se. Let's move on now to unions. They both talked about unions last night. First, let's take a little listen to the debate.
I have negotiated in the past, both in the private sector and the public sector. I've been tough, but I've been fair with the unions. You can go talk to any one of the union leaders about it. Here's the issue. Mr. de Blasio has never negotiated a contract before. In fact, what concerns me is that he's so aligned with the unions. How is he going to make sure that he's protecting the people of the city of New York?
In the time I've spent in public life, plenty of disagreements with the labor movement. I've managed to be respectful, but still make clear that I can't agree to the things I think aren't in the public's interest. And I'll continue with that pattern: independence, clarity, and respect.
Now, do you think he backed off a little bit on his position with the unions, Basil?
Well, what's interesting to me about this is he got the support of the Working Families Party. It's a party comprised of union support. Right. The most progressive candidate in the race, I think, was John Liu, who said that he would pay the unions their retroactive salary of $7–8 billion. De Blasio has never really said that, but I think most people believe if you've got the support of the Working Families Party and you've had this populist message, as we've been talking about, that you're going to be somewhat beholden to these unions. So a lot of the sort of pushback and the movement toward the center that he's doing in this general, which is necessary, I wonder how many people actually believe that at the end of the day.
And how about you, Jackie?
Well, Loda was talking about consolidating the communication of the unions, which is a novel idea. You know, I'd love to see what happens. We're not, because he's not going to win. It's Mayor de Blasio. But I think we should listen to what he had to say and think about instituting something like that.
I don't know, when you have a candidate 40 points ahead in the polls, does that mean that there's going to be voter apathy? Is it assumed that he really is going to be the next mayor?
That people may not bother to vote, but it is such an incredibly wide gap. Let's talk now about the trickle-down economics that they discussed last night. Do we have sound on that, too, I think?
If you believe in tax breaks as a way to spur the economy, if you believe in giving more money to the wealthy, more money to corporations, that is trickle-down economics. It was a Reagan and Bush policy. Why do you think it's going to work in New York City today? It failed before. Why is it going to work now?
You want to know what trickle-down is? Trickle-down is saying, I'm only going to tax the rich, when in fact you're going to end up not only taxing the rich, but you're going to be taxing the middle class. Like I said last week, those of you in the middle class, don't believe him. He's coming after your respect.
All right, did he make points with that with the middle class?
I think he did. You know, going to your earlier point and tagging Joe Loda as this sort of part of the National Republican Party, he's saying, look, you're a Ronald Reagan Republican. You're like these other Tea Party folks that talked about job creation and job creators and helping big businesses. That's what he's tagging Loda as, which, going back to the populist message and sort of the 99%, doesn't jibe with the people that put him in this position, put Bill de Blasio in this election. It's a populist message targeted to sort of the anti-Wall Street folks, and it works, and that's how he got elected.
But did Loda score any points with the middle class with saying they're not just going to stop with the rich, they're coming after you?
No, I don't think so. Everybody I talked to today said the trickle-down theory, I'm still waiting for it to trickle down into my pocketbook. So I don't think so. People didn't believe what Loda said.
Right, and they also know the middle class is being slammed, and the one percenters are getting away with not paying taxes on the most part.
Before we go here, I want you each to make a prediction. What do you think the voter turnout is going to be Tuesday, especially in light of Lynn's remark about apathy?
I don't think it's going to be very strong. I think people are turned off to politics right now, and I think that this particular race is assumed, as I said before. And because of that, people will stay home and just think that it's going to be de Blasio, so why do I pitch in my vote? I think that's a wrong concept, but I think that's what's going to happen.
You guys agree with that?
Well, I think Lynn's right, but I think you also have to look at the fact that we've had a Republican mayor for the last 20 years. And I think the Democrats are going to party, they're going to go out, vote for that Democrat, and be very happy about it.
And Basil?
I think you'll see turnout low to moderate in all the boroughs except Brooklyn, which is de Blasio's home borough, which is Tish James, who's the public advocate elect, I guess. And you have a DA and a borough president's race in Brooklyn, so the high turnout there. Everywhere else, not so much.
Okay, thank you all for your insight, and we'll be watching the polls right here.